All signs are pointing to this. Despite getting new update after new update, the Miami Heat remain as one of the top favorites to acquire the multiple-time scoring champion Kevin Durant this offseason. I'm here to break down a slew of new reports establishing more connections between this Miami Heat team and all-star Kevin Durant, which we'll break down all on this episode of Heat Digest. But first, please do remember to scroll down and click the subscribe button if you're a part of the near 80% watching this video not currently subscribed. We do appreciate all the love and support, so thank you guys. But now let's get to it and break down more of these Kevin Durant updates, as there are a bunch of them as they continue to come out to social media day after day after day, as Durant seems to be the biggest topic of conversation amongst the entirety of the NBA as the offseason in full flight quickly approaches. Now, the first article or the first report we are going to break down is from Jake Fisher, as he goes on and predicts that Kevin Durant will be traded to the Miami Heat, as he goes on to say this quote: "I got my eyes on the Heat right now. I think Miami has the pieces, the willingness, and are the team KD would want to go to." And that's not the end of the quote, as it's just the first piece, as Heat diehards on Twitter went on to give us more of that quote from Jake Fisher, as they would go on and say, quote, "I got my eye on the Heat right now. When you look at the whole landscape, that's the best educated guess as to what the outcome is going to be for KD. I think Miami has the pieces and willingness and are a team that KD would want to go to and could win this sweepstakes." Now that is the end in the entirety of the quote from Jake Fisher, a very respectable and knowledgeable mind when it comes to the landscape of the NBA, specifically in the offseason. Now, is he going to be 100% right? Only time will tell. But the Miami Heat still, despite new draft odds, or I should say betting odds, on Kevin Durant's landing spot, remain as one of the top favorites. And if you don't know what I'm alluding to, we've broken down multiple betting odds surrounding Kevin Durant in his next landing spot this offseason on this channel just in the recent past. And now we have new updated betting odds, and this is from DraftKings and Evan Siddery on Twitter, as he goes on to post them, as the Houston Rockets find themselves as the number one favorite in front of the Miami Heat now to land Kevin Durant this offseason at plus 250, quickly followed by the Miami Heat in second place at plus 350. Now, we can't really go off of these in the sense of concrete information on where Durant is going to land, but it gives us a good idea in which way everything is leaning. Now, I won't say these are 100% accurate for a few reasons, and we're going to break down a report that suggests that the Houston Rockets are a bit in and out, if you will, on the Durant sweepstakes. We don't know whether or not they are fully going to commit to Kevin Durant and whether or not they want to go out there and actually acquire him this offseason, and if that is going to be the piece they really go out and try to acquire, as there are going to be an ample amount of teams that could be willing to go out and get Durant, as well as a bunch of different assets the Houston Rockets could want to go out there and acquire. Now, we have this from Full Court Pass, I should say, on Twitter. It goes off to give us the idea of why the Rockets may not be the number one team in trying to get Durant. Again, this is from today, as Full Court Pass goes on to say, the Rockets are, quote, lukewarm, end of quote, on trading for Kevin Durant because of his age and are not in love with the timeline, per Sam Amick. So, Full Court Pass citing Sam Amick, a very knowledgeable, incredible mind surrounding the game of basketball, just like Jake Fisher. And this gives us the idea that, once again, the Rockets are not fully committed to the idea of acquiring Kevin Durant this offseason because of not only the age, but as well as the timeline in which the Houston Rockets are currently in trying to build now, as well as for the future going forward, to be competitive in a loaded Western Conference. Now, Durant, obviously going into his age 37 season, has played a lot of basketball, especially in the professional stage, and this is nothing new to him. Now, the biggest question for a lot of these teams are whether or not they would like to buy in on Durant, where he's going into a contract year. He only has 1 year remaining on his current contract that he was awarded by the Phoenix Suns before becoming an unrestricted free agent next season. So if you were to trade for Durant, you would have to then sign and extend him, again, at the age of 37, up probably until the age of 40, which could scare a lot of teams away, including the Houston Rockets that have such a young core up to this point. Whether or not they want to trade those young pieces and assets in order to get an aging veteran in Durant is going to really be the straw that breaks the camel's back in this situation, and really whether or not the Miami Heat are going to have a great opportunity to go out there and acquire Kevin Durant. Now, To move on, another report, this one from Shams, the one and only, as we all know him, as he's the biggest insider covering the game of basketball. He said a lot of very intriguing things on the Pat McAfee show today as they were in Indiana for tonight's Game 6 preview for the finals against the Oklahoma City Thunder. And in doing so, he was sitting next to Udonis Haslem, lifetime legend of this Miami Heat organization, where we learned a lot, including this major quote that leads us to believe the Heat are legitimately, if not the favorite, one of the favorites for Kevin Durant going forward, despite new betting odds. Quote, the Suns have a price threshold that they want to meet, they want met in a trade for Kevin Durant, and I have one team tell me today it's a game of chicken right now. The Rockets, Heat, and Timberwolves are literally one or two pieces away from getting a deal done. And again, that is the end of the quote from Shams on the PMS show, the Pat McAfee show from today. So, is Kel'el Ware that one missing piece for the Miami Heat? We will wait and see whether or not the Heat are willing to put him in a trade package, or even if that trade package is sent for Durant, if that was the last leg they were looking for in order to make this move between the Suns and the Miami Heat organization. Obviously, the Suns know what they want in return after sending out a king's ransom to the Brooklyn Nets in exchange for Kevin Durant just a few years ago. That really reset their franchise, so that is why they are looking for such a surplus of assets in return for Durant with this trade. But again, it's not the NBA trade deadline. Teams don't have a gun really to their head in the sense that they have to get something done. They don't have their backs against the wall. They're not being forced to get a job done before this buzzer that's going off in just a few hours. They have an entirety of an offseason out in front of them, and really the first team that bites and overcommits to the price that they're going to send to the Suns in exchange for Durant may be the team lucky enough to get them. But if all the teams sit out and really wait to see what they can get off of in that price to Durant, for Durant, could really be the last leg. That could be the biggest factor in all of this. If the Heat, as well as the Timberwolves and others, wait out and see which team is going to go out there and offer the most, the Suns could flat out just take the bait and give up Durant for lack of what they are looking for. Now, whether or not that happens, again, just like everything else, we are going to have to wait and see, but it's going to be very interesting with these new betting odds and all of the other information that we know now. It seems like all signs are pointing to the fact that the Heat remain as one of the top favorites, if not the favorites, to land Kevin Durant this offseason, which could completely change the trajectory of not only their offseason and next season, but the entirety of the league. I can't wait to see how all things play out. Let me know down below what your opinions are on how the Durant sweepstakes are going to play out from here, and I will see you guys on the next episode of Heat Digest. I have to waste 7 seconds because I didn't get all the way there. Oh my god.